All right, today we're diving back into the Jeffrey Epstein case because something pretty shocking has come to light. You know that crucial piece of evidence, the surveillance tape from the night he died? Well, it wasn't just lost, it was destroyed. We're going to break down exactly how that happened and what it all means.
And this right here, this is the bombshell at the heart of it all. I mean, new documents are showing that the FBI, the FBI deliberately destroyed its master copy of the surveillance video from the night Epstein died. Just gone.
So you're probably asking, how does something like that just disappear? Well, the documents are pretty specific. Back in June of 2021, an FBI agent got the green light to destroy something labeled Evidence Item 1B60. And what was that item? You guessed it, the master copy of the surveillance footage from Epstein's final hours. Okay, so the big question is, why? I mean, really, why? Was this just some boring routine procedure like the officials are claiming? Or is there something else going on here? Because let's be honest, the official story leaves a lot of big questions on the table. And this is where you get this crazy contrast, right? It's like a tale of two completely different stories. On one side, you have the FBI saying, hey, this was totally routine. Their logic? The criminal case was closed, so they figured the evidence was, quote, no longer pertinent. But then you have the other side, the one that just makes you scratch your head and ask, why on earth would you destroy the single most important piece of evidence in one of the biggest, most mysterious deaths we've seen in years? It just doesn't add up. And here's the kicker. This wasn't some hypothetical problem. Later on, when the Justice Department actually needed that footage for a review, guess what? The original untouched master copy, it was just gone, vanished. But believe it or not, the story gets even weirder. That destroyed tape, it's not just a one-off thing. When you take a step back and look at everything that happened around Epstein's death, you start to see this pattern, a whole cascade of coincidences and failures that, wouldn't you know it, all happened at the worst possible times. So let's just walk through this timeline, okay? On July 29th, 2019, a DVR system goes down. Fine, things break. Then, on August 8th, the motherboard on that same DVR fails. And then on August 10th, the exact day Epstein died, a crucial hard drive fails. You see the pattern? It's just one technical failure after another, right when it matters most. And look, the tech glitches, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Get ready for this list because it is wild. Footage from his first suicide attempt, oops, accidentally deleted. He was taken off suicide watch, totally against the rules. The two guards who were supposed to be watching him, they fell asleep and then lied about it. His cellmate gets moved out just 2 days before he dies. He makes a phone call with no one listening in to his mom, who had been dead for years. The crime scene was a mess from the get-go. Other inmates said they heard shrieking. And to top it all off, experts were saying the marks on his body didn't even seem to match the bedsheet. It's a lot. So when you pile all of that up, what are you left with? It really forces you into the central debate. Are we looking at a series of just mind-bogglingly bad mistakes and incompetence? Or was this all on purpose? A deliberate cover-up? You know, there's actually a concept for this, a way to think about it. It's called Hanlon's razor. And the basic idea is, never blame on malice what you can explain with stupidity. It's a really useful lens to look at these two competing ideas. So if we use that idea, Hanlon's razor, it basically splits this whole thing into two main theories. Theory one is the stupidity angle, a story of just epic incompetence, with people messing up left and right across different agencies. And then there's theory two, the malice angle, a calculated, intentional cover-up designed to hide the truth from the very beginning. Now, with a mountain of weird coincidences and the main piece of evidence literally thrown in the trash, it's really no surprise that people's trust in the official story has just evaporated. So let's talk about that, about how all this distrust has shaped what the public actually believes happened. Nature abhors a vacuum, right? And when you have a vacuum of evidence and trust, speculation rushes in to fill the void. The source material points to two huge theories that have taken hold. The first is that Epstein was actually taken out of the cell, replaced with a body double, and is still alive somewhere. The second is that an assassin slipped in during one of those convenient surveillance gaps and killed him to keep him quiet. And don't think for a second this is just some fringe internet theory. A poll mentioned in the source material shows just how mainstream this skepticism is. I mean, check this out. 52% of people polled think he's still alive.
44% think he was killed. That leaves just 5%, only 5%, who believe the official story that he committed suicide. That's not just doubt. That's a massive, overwhelming rejection of the official narrative. So you take it all, the destroyed tapes, the coincidental tech failures, all the broken rules, and it leaves us with one final, really unsettling question. And this question is bigger than just what happened to one guy in a prison cell. It's about something fundamental. When the evidence you need to find the facts is allowed to just vanish, what's left of the truth?
Jeffrey Epstein's dark world has been talked about for years, right? But now a massive trove of never-before-seen videos from his own personal devices gives us the most direct look we've ever had into his life and his mind. So today, let's break down what these tapes actually show us.
And when I say massive, I mean it. We are talking about 14 hours of footage that has been analyzed, all pulled from a data dump that had something like 2,000 separate video files. It's a lot to get through.
So where did all this come from? Well, recently, the Department of Justice released hundreds of gigabytes of data connected to the case. And buried deep inside all of that were these videos, taken right off Epstein's own devices. So this is stuff he either filmed himself, got from other people, or just downloaded off the internet.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? After all this time, what does this 14 hours of footage really tell us? What new picture does it paint about his methods, his worldview, and honestly, the sheer impunity he seemed to operate with? Okay, so the very first thing that hits you when you start watching is this glossy facade. The videos just plunge you headfirst into a world of almost unimaginable wealth and luxury. But right away, there's this really chilling contradiction. Yeah, one of the very first unredacted files isn't a tour of a mansion or a party on a yacht. It's this. A video of Epstein's 2019 passport, with this stark, unavoidable warning printed right there on the endorsement page.
And then, literally right after you see that warning, the footage just pivots to, well, to this. A super slick, 10-minute-long drone video of his 2 private islands. You see these fancy meals at high-end restaurants, parties on yachts, private jets. There's even a 38-minute VHS tape of his island that feels like it could be the opening credits to the show Succession. The whiplash between that passport and this lifestyle is just jarring.
And this really highlights the tension you feel through all of the footage. It doesn't matter how beautiful the sunset is or how luxurious the setting looks, you just can't shake the context. Every single one of these incredible locations you're seeing, it's a potential crime scene.
All right, so let's peel back that glossy layer now. This is where we start to see the really disturbing recordings, the ones that hint what was actually happening behind all those closed doors. One of the first things you notice is all the redaction. It's a recurring theme. Whenever women are on camera, their faces, and a lot of times their bodies, are just hidden by these big black squares. We see young women dancing or lying in bed, just obscured from view. In one video of a young woman's bedroom, there's this large brown teddy bear that's always there. And sometimes the redaction glitches, and for just a split second, a young girl's face is suddenly visible.
And in the videos that Epstein himself filmed, you can hear his voice. He's directing, he's manipulating. He tells one woman, "Look a little happier, smile, look at me like you love me." In another clip, he seems to be pushing a girl to do something she's not comfortable with, and you can see her shaking her head no.
You know, maybe the most chilling clips are the ones that seem almost innocent if you didn't know the context. There's a clip of a young girl in a candy store. Another scene looks totally wholesome, except the girl's face is blacked out. And then there's a video of a toddler being cooed at by a voice that sounds an awful lot like Epstein's. And that becomes absolutely horrifying when you realize that in other videos you can see a paternity test sitting on his desk. It just leaves you wondering, who is this child and why on earth were they being filmed? So, okay, we've seen his actions, but what about what was going on in his mind? Well, the videos he downloaded and kept give us this really bizarre, chaotic window into his worldview. I mean, it is such a strange collection of stuff. He saved this deeply misogynistic video called the Hot/Crazy Women Matrix, but then he also saved New Age monologues from Deepak Chopra, a really beautiful animation of Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, and a clip of a talking dog from Britain's Got Talent. It just makes no sense. It's this mix of high art, low culture, philosophy, and just pure vulgarity.
And there was so much more. More of those self-recorded Deepak Chopra videos, a Fox News segment with Tucker Carlson, and these clips that seem to be accidental videos of well-known people, like the psychologist Steven Pinker, who look like they think they're just posing for a quick picture. And on top of all that, there was just a huge, huge volume of pornography.
But look, the single most revealing part of the entire 14 hours is a nearly 2-hour-long interview. It was supposedly for a sympathetic documentary, and it's Epstein in conversation with Steve Bannon. This is where we finally get to hear from the man himself, in his own words.
So, towards the end of this interview, Bannon just confronts him directly. He asks if institutions should be taking money from, and this is his phrase, a Tier 1 sexual predator.
And Epstein's response is just astounding. He doesn't deny it, he just kind of quibbles with the words, asking if Tier 1 is the worst, and then claiming he's actually the lowest. But then he just casually tacks on, but a criminal, yes. It's this frank admission, and there's not a single hint of shame in his voice.
So Bannon pushes him even further. He asks him the ultimate question. Do you think you're the devil himself? He even frames it by saying, Epstein has all these attributes, brilliance, intelligence, that you might associate with the devil in literature.
In Epstein's reply, it might be the most chilling line in all 14 hours of footage. He just says, "No, but I do have a good mirror." It's cryptic, it's arrogant, and it shows this profound, complete lack of remorse. He knows exactly who he is.
So here's the main takeaway. After watching all of this footage, the journalist who analyzed it came to a simple conclusion. It doesn't reveal some new Epstein. It just reveals the same man we already knew about, over and over again, just in more vivid, undeniable, and horrifying detail.
He was, as the source material puts it, a man operating in plain sight, totally insulated by his incredible wealth and surrounded by a whole network of enablers who just looked the other way.
And that really leaves us with one last haunting question. This isn't just about one man. It's about the systems and the culture that were all around him. What is it about our society that allows this kind of evil to hide, not in the shadows, but right out in the open?